One person, though, who really, really, really hates the 17-game season is Tom Brady. Tom does his weekly podcast for Westwood One. It's called the Let's Go podcast. And he was asked a lot of questions.
Money grab. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, look, I ain't going to complain. I wish I could someone pay me to talk football. That'd be great. But anyways, they asked him about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to get into that. Someone asked him about the 17-game season. He had a lot to say about the 17-game season, including why he blames his fellow NFLPA brethren for this extended season. Take a listen.
The owners haven't had to listen to the players because usually what the owners want, the owners get. We need strong union leadership from the player standpoint and a unified union in order to have the right amount of leverage to negotiate what we think is appropriate for an NFL player. And we've essentially agreed to play under their circumstances.
Rob, I totally agree with everything that Tom Brady said in that statement.
What he said is true.
However,
yes,
he is the last person to be making that kind of a statement. Lest we forget that for 20 years in New England, Tom Brady was continuously undermining the NFLPA when he kept taking less than market value to remain the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. There is a reason why the NFLPA is the worst union in all of American professional sports. Because guys like Tom Brady, guys like Patrick Mahomes, who have all the leverage in the world at their time. Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls. You were arguing between him and Peyton Manning, who's the best quarterback in football. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a few million off. I'm gonna take a few million off here. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a discount so we can not get us a new receiver because they never actually used that money that he kept giving back. Because Patrick Mahomes, when he was up for his salary cap extension, rather than becoming only the second player ever to get a fully guaranteed contract, which he totally could have, because he was coming off an MVP in the Super Bowl.
No, and the youngest player. I mean,
Exactly.
Are you kidding? He had all the leverage.
I don't know if anybody's ever had more leverage in their career than Patrick Mahomes did at that time. And he locked himself into a 10-year deal, essentially bypassing free agency for his entire career.
And all the outs given to the Kansas City Chiefs, not him.
Exactly.
It is one of the worst contracts ever. Plain and simple. It just is, and that's not from me alone. That's from other agents. And Rob G, I think you're spot on. Tom Brady has undermined the system and the union. When you take less than your value, you put the other players in a bad spot. If Tom Brady's doing this to help win, don't you want to win like Tom Brady? Look, he took less money. He's not trying to get all the money. He wants to get other players. And you know what they did in New England? How many times, Rob G, did they not pay their players when the time came and let them bounce?
Every year.
Time and time again, right?
Every year.
That's what they did. And you can't do that and then talk about the union being weak or whatnot. Remember, and the NFL Players Association compared to Major League Baseball's union, it's like night and day. Can we, right? Like 100.
Strongest union in sports is baseball.
Not even close. And you remember when Alex Rodriguez was going to go to the Red Sox and the Red Sox wanted him to take a bit of a pay cut? The union said, no way, no how. You signed for that $325 million and you're going to get every single nickel. There's no way the Red Sox is getting some discount. It's not happening. Because once he did that, right, for the Red Sox, owners would have been asking for everybody to do it. So my point is, Tom Brady should have always been asking for his market value. And people always like, how much money is enough? I don't understand it. What does it matter if he makes $20 million or $18 million? Do you see owners giving discounts to fans?
Never.
Never.
Do they ever say,
They keep making
what?
more money. Did the Coke prices go down?
Yeah.
Did the beer prices go down because they had a good year?
Never. They never say, you know what, we could turn a profit on a $6 beer, so let's just leave it at that. No, we're going to charge them $14.
Right. No, we want to make 300% on the beer. 100%, like most stores, that's not good enough. We want 300%. And I don't get like Tom Brady now belly aching now that he's in year 30 or whatever. Now he's belly aching. Tom, when you were winning all those Super Bowls with New England, you had a voice. You had a platform. You could have gone out and stuck up and talked about get your worth. Get your worth. All the NFL owners do, Rob G, is brag about how much money they print, don't they?
Yes, sir.
You got a commissioner making like $1 gazillion. What was his contract? He's made like $140 million or something the last 2 years?
Still underpaid, Rob, but that's a different conversation.
All right? But somehow the players, they still signed a labor contract, collective bargaining agreement. The collective bargaining agreement where owners, if they don't like the deal that you're in because you haven't performed, Rob G, guess what they can do? Ask you to come back at a pay cut. But if you exceed your contract, can you opt out and get a bigger deal?
Nope.
Who would sign a deal like that? It makes no sense. Or a franchise tag that robs you of your free agency and a chance to move on and go to the highest bidder. Who would sign a deal like that? It's so one-sided. And this is how bad the players' union is. For the CTE, I don't know if you remember this, Rob G. They came to an agreement with the NFL. They took it to a judge, right? The arbitrator. The arbitrator said, no, I'm not signing this. There's not enough money for the players. This is no good. What arbitrator interferes in an agreement that was agreed on both sides? Have you ever heard anything like that?
Never.
Why would you? You agreed. Okay, I'm the arbitrator. I sign it. You both agreed. They looked at the can't remember if it was a guy or girl, looked at it and said, this is not sufficient enough. Bring it back to me when the NFL funds this with more money. That's how pathetic. But there's Tom Brady. You didn't help the cause, Mr. Tom Brady. You hurt your brethren by not taking your full value. That ain't your business if the Patriots can't balance the budget or put it together. That's not for you. You're not a front office person. Why should you be worried about that? Give me my value. He's never been the highest paid quarterback.
Nope.
How could a guy who's won six at that six? He got 7 now, but during his 6th Super Bowl, he was never the highest paid quarterback. Does that make any sense?
Right. And this argument that people kept throwing out there was, well, he's taking less money to help the team to get more talent. Rob, the Boston Globe reported last season when Bill Belichick said something about, well, we always spend a lot, for Tom Brady, try to get a Super Bowl team. When the actual numbers, the hard numbers showed that they were spending below the league average in almost every one of the Super Bowl years.
No doubt about it. And Tom Brady was always crying, right? Always, whoa, look at what he's got. They didn't go out and get him, spend the money. Like he's giving up money with this whole idea. For nothing. And they never got anything in return. And then the star players, they never signed.
Right.
They let him walk.
So that's why I get so agitated, and you do too, with his comments about the NFLPA and them being weak is why they got the 70-game season. They're weak because of guys like you, Tom Brady. They're weak right now, and they're the laughingstock of American professional sports because guys like you who had the muscle, who had all the leverage in the world in New England.
Everybody doesn't have it. Those guys just trying to make the 53-man roster, they can't say anything. I get that. They should stay in the background.
Because guys like you, Tom Brady, who had the leverage, who had the opportunity to make it better for the guys coming after you, chose not to flex their muscle.
Definitely. And you brought it up earlier. Patrick Mahomes was ready. He should have said up to the Chiefs, I'm going to give you 48 hours. I want a 4-year, fully guaranteed contract, $50 million a year. What you going to do? If you don't, I'm not signing it, and I'm out of here. You don't think they would have signed him?
They would give him whatever he wanted.
Instead, he gave some team-friendly deal.
He had so much power where he could have got a fully guaranteed contract and then said something like, you know what? I'm not a real big fan of McCole Hardman, so I'd like him to not be on the team next season. Yep. I promise you McCole Hardman will be in a different uniform if Patrick Mahomes really felt that way.
They gave a fully guaranteed contract to Kirk Cousins, who haven't won jack.
Exactly.
And Patrick Mahomes When he signed that $500 million contract, Rob G, I might be off a couple million. But you know what was fully guaranteed at the time that he signed it? $68 million of the $500 million.
Terrible.
68.
Rob, you pointed it out earlier. At the time, I mean, remember The Athletic had that big article from all these player agents where they talked about that deal. And to a man, they called it the worst contract they'd ever seen.
It was terrible.
I mean, I got some quotes here.
Go ahead.
Deal was horrendous for all players moving forward. Here's the other one. He had no one had greater leverage than Mahomes. His agents missed a big opportunity to change the game. It's a big miss. Another one. I don't understand why an agent would do a deal for that long. Flies in the face of everything we're looking for.
Absolutely. It just doesn't make any sense. And if he wanted to stay his whole career there, that's fine. Sign a second contract and a third contract. Do you know, like, you don't have to sign a long-term contract where you can. And then there are no escape clauses for him. Just Kansas City, in case he goes south or he gets hurt, they can get out of it, but he can't.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's just disappointing, and it makes it worse. It's one thing to do the act, and you got to live with it, whatever. It's something else to try to, disrespect this whole other group of people when the only reason or one of the reasons why they're in that position to begin with is because of you. And you're throwing them under the bus like you had nothing to do with it.